Alright friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. I'm having so much fun with this. Today we're going to be doing my November reading wrap up, which is kind of funny because I did not do a wrap up for September or October. So clearly I can just put them all together, but that is just too much right now. We're doing November. I have my cute little Christmas cardigan on. I think it's really funny. And like, I don't know, I like it. Here last year, remember my sloth sweater? The sloth sweater will make a comeback in some video coming up. I love that thing. But I think this is just as cute too, and I'm really excited about it. Before we dive in, I need honest opinions about this background, guys. Is it too chaotic? Is there too much going on? This used to be a plain white wall behind me with my bookshelf over here, and now with my cart too especially, I think it's just like too much happening. I guess if I took the cart away, is that better? I think that's better. We're gonna leave it like that for today, but still, if it's too much, let me know. We can figure something else out. In the month of November, I read 9 full books, and I'm gonna say 10 because then I read the Under the Mistletoe collection that came off of Amazon this past month. That had like little short stories from Ali Hazelwood, Tessa Bailey, a couple other authors. Those books were all 50 to 70 pages. I'm not gonna count those as individual books. I'm gonna lump them all together as one. I want to say I read 10. Now, for the most part, this month had bangers in it, besides a couple. One especially that I was deeply upset and disappointed by, but besides the point. I don't even know where I want to start, guys. This is so exciting. I guess we can start with what I read first, which is, I keep saying I finally started my Cosmere journey. Technically, I read this book back in August, but did I really read it? I feel like I read it, I've already explained this a million times, but it was a day where I was traveling, my flight was getting delayed, I was upset, I was trying to read a book a day for a challenge, and I definitely felt like I probably skimmed a lot of this when I shouldn't have. There are so many things I read the second time that I thoroughly did not remember happening the first time I read it. I gave it a reread, but I'm saying it was my first read this month, and I loved this. This is like the classic overtaking the empire kind of vibe. We have two main characters, Kelsey and Vin, and pretty much at the beginning, Vin is like with this like street thief crew. She knows she has some sort of ability but doesn't know what it is, and then Kelsey comes along, explains to her that she's Mistborn. In this story, how the magic system is it's by metals, and so people called Mistlings who can burn and use one metal, and then Mistborn who can burn the full range and use all the powers. Some of them like heighten senses, make you feel less pain, make you stronger, like all that stuff. So she can use all of them. You're never really confused in this book because she has no ideas what her powers really are, and you learn as she learns, so it's very, very easy to understand and digest. There was never like a moment in this book where I felt confused. I feel like his writing is very straightforward and very nice. It's just like a very enjoyable reading experience. If you're looking to get into like adult or high fantasy, you don't know where to start, I would thoroughly recommend here because like I said, I wasn't really overwhelmed, daunted by anything. It was very easy to read and very easy to get through. I think it's like a 4.5, I think. I did already start reading Love Ascension and I'm loving it so much. So please start Brandon Sanderson, do it. Next book I read was A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir, and this is the second book. I should know what this quartet is called. I just keep calling it Never in the Ashes series, but if anyone knows the real name, let me know. This book I think I'm giving a 3.75 to a 4-star. The thing with this book is I feel like for me, it struggled a little bit with what I call second fantasy syndrome. I feel at the beginning, we had like an objective that we were working towards, but it very much was like we were just trying to get somewhere. They were going somewhere, right? Like it's always like the typical like journey that you read about. Those are the first like 2/3 they kind of drag on for me, but then the last like 50 to 100 pages were very, very good. Like, when I was about like halfway, I'm like, how are we gonna have 2 more books of this? Like, where are the other 2 books coming from? But in that last 50 to 100 pages, it really picked up, and you got a lot more things added into it that were gut-wrenching. And now I kind of see obviously where that 3rd book is going to come in the 4th book. I would say if it hadn't been for the ending, it probably been like a solid like 3 to 3.5, but I think now it's a 3.75 to 4-star based on how that ending was. And I actually don't know what's in store for the rest of the characters. I just don't know what's in store now for characters coming in the next couple books, and I'm very scared. I do have a Reaper in the Gate, the 3rd book on my TBR for December, so hopefully finish the series up soon and I figure what's going on. Another new read was Chain of Thorns, and this completed my Shadowhunter's journey. Guys, I'm emotional. I'm gutted. I'm sad. I remember starting this series at the beginning of the year and being like, my goal is to finish this series by the end of the year, and I've done it. I just feel empty. Truthfully, like, this book I will say wasn't like my favorite in the entire universe. I just don't think it's at least like a 4.5 to 4.75, somewhere in there. But I think it was just like the whole time I was reading this, it was just so much nostalgia. So I was feeling very bittersweet. I think that added to my reading experience. I know there is still more Shadowhunter's books coming. I think she said that she has one more trilogy planned in this world, but you know, I'm caught up for now. I kind of just like sitting there, I'm like, well, what now? So I think I'm gonna start a reread soon to keep going. And then I read Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and this one, I will say, I think it's gonna be like a 3.5. I think this one also, unfortunately, definitely suffered from second book syndrome, where it just, the whole, like, I'd say up until about here, we were just playing cat and mouse, and it was just going back and forth, and like, it was exhausting almost. Like, I was like, I don't even understand what's happening here. It felt like a whole lot of nothing with like a little bit of banter mixed in. The last like 50 or so pages were very well done. And I like how it set up the third book, but I really don't feel like this book was necessarily necessary. You know, I will also read the third book now just because I'm so far in. If you guys don't know, this is the second book to Powerless, and Powerless I've already seen it a couple times. I had very iffy feelings about it. It was kind of like a 3.5 star for me. Like, for example, I know everybody says it's very heavily influenced by the Hunger Games, but for me, when I was reading it, it felt almost, there's a very clear line between like taking ideas and taking inspiration from ideas. And I feel like there was a couple times that line was kind of teetering a little bit too close for my personal liking. So there was sometimes I was reading this book and I'm like, what, like, this is the Hunger, like, what are we talking, this is the Hunger Games. I really remember a point in book 1 where it was like they're doing interviews before the games and trials, and I was reading it, I'm like, Suzanne Collins, is that you? I did like how this book was definitely, it felt more of its own, but I don't like the direction it took during the entire like middle section. But I will also read book 3 because I'm already this deep in. Then we read Some Kind of Perfect, and friends, I did not enjoy this, and I'm so disappointed. I rated every single book in the Addicted series, I think between like a 3.5 to a 4 star. I did say by like books 6 and onwards, I was like, this is getting very repetitive, and I already was like starting to like decrease my enjoyment in the series. But I felt like some of those last couple books, like the last Rose and Connor book, I really loved. And so at this point I was like, I'm just so far in, we're just gonna finish the series, obviously, like I'm not gonna stop now. We're 7 books in. This is an epilogue novel. It's literally what they call it. This could have been, if this was 100 pages, I would have enjoyed it. Why is it 800 pages? No need for this. This entire book, all it is each couple's like, oh, they're pregnant again, about to have a kid, and there's like a break in the book where it's like this page, oh, so-and-so welcome to the birth of their boy. It happens a million times. They literally have over a dozen kids combined. The entire book was just that, going back and forth, like a random kind of sprinkling story in there, smut, and that was all it was. Did I need 800 pages of that? Maybe if I was like truly obsessed with the characters, but I still loved them all, and by the end of this book, I hated most of them, just because I was so sick of them. And some things they did in this book were extremely questionable also. There was one part where like, Lo grounds their one son for something, and I'm like, you're grounding him for that? Like, that's on you. And I'm not sure if I actually didn't notice it in other books, but Reich made me so mad in this book, because tell me why. If it was ever his POV, there was probably the F word 20 times on the page. I'm not even exaggerating, like a million times. Every single sentence he said had to have the F word in it. His thoughts all had the F word in it. And even like talking to his kids, like he'd be like, don't you have to know that? Like, you're so effing cute. I was like, do we have to? Like, I have a trucker mouth and I say it all the time. Like, I swear quite a bit, but that I was like, this actually made me like want to chuck it against the wall. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm very let down by this book. I'm so upset, but we're gonna move on because I can't keep thinking about that. The Under the Mistletoe collection, I think I'm gonna give cumulatively like a 3.5 star, maybe a 3.25. The Ali Hazelwood one I really loved. I did not like Tessa Bailey's, to be straight honest. I think it went from like the contrast of like wholesome and cute in the Ali Hazelwood one to just like straight smut in the Tessa one, and I wasn't really enjoying that, to be honest. I already made a full video of like my ranking of these internally and all that stuff, so if you guys see that video, I will link it somewhere. That was my day 2 of Vlogmas, I believe. And then I read Royal Assassin, and it, guys, I think it's a 4.25 to 4.5. And if you guys know me, you're probably like, Angel, because The Assassin's Apprentice, the first book in the series, I rated like a 3.5, 3.75, and it put me in a 2-month-long book slump. I've said it a million times and I'll keep saying it. Book 1, I think I just read at the wrong time and I forced myself to finish it. I didn't really know her writing style at the time. It was very slow paced. It was character driven. And I found like the problem with the first book was I didn't really know or care a lot about the characters yet, you know? This book, I think she did a great job about building upon them and really fleshing a lot of those characters out. So therefore, even though it was still slow and character driven, I enjoyed it a lot more. A lot of people say this is the best one in the Farseer trilogy, but I have heard that it only goes upwards from here. One thing I did notice that a lot of people actually have commented on as a critique for this first series is that there isn't a lot of female characters, especially when it's written by a female author. But I'm not going to hinder it too much for that because I have heard that Live Ship Traders, which is the next like series she has in this whole overarching universe, does a lot of like really strong, great female characters. So I'm really excited to read some of those. And then my reread of ACOTAR, this one, when I first read it, I think I gave it like a 3.75. I think I would stick with that, or maybe even give it a 4 star now, to be honest. Main thing with reading this one, as I just said, it was so nostalgic going back and reading this, because I remember when I first read this, I had no idea, obviously, like really what I was getting myself into with Sarah J Maas and like what she would become to me, and like how much, especially Throne of Glass, like means to me, and just like my favorite series ever in the entire world. And I've like never reread those books. It's actually really fun going back now and rereading with like the knowledge I have now and like how much love I have now for this woman. Like kind of like seeing where it all started. It was so like good. That's all I can say. It was so like heartwarming is the thing, you know. It was the best. And I thoroughly recommend doing rereads for all your favorite series because I'm having so much fun doing it. My last two books are also rereads I've had so much fun doing, and that is Harry Potter book 1 and 2. I actually reread these they're on Kindle Unlimited, so I read them there, done my highlighting annotations, and then put them in my beater copies, which you guys have seen. Harry Potter's right back there, so that red box I'm pointing at, where is it? Right there. That red box is my like nice collection, and the ones here I have started thrifting like the old beater copies of them, the old first editions, and those ones I'm annotating. I don't know what I would rate these, to be honest. I haven't even thought of like a rating for them. I'd say they're probably around like 3.5 to 4 stars and around there. First book probably 3.5, second book maybe like 3.75, 4 star. I've never read these books before because I read them for the first time when I was 7. I was more just like, yeah, I like or dislike this book, and that was about it. But I'm really enjoying them now as an adult as well too. Alrighty guys, this is a pretty stacked reading month for the most part. Just forget about this book right here. We're not gonna talk about that one. I hope you guys are enjoying Vlogmas so far. I just don't know what video this is. Probably around like 4 or 5, maybe. I could be so off. But I'm having so much fun with it so far. I have a good mix of like sit down videos and like vlogs, like hopefully a little bit half split for you guys. If you guys like today's video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. I'm also on TikTok at Angel's Book Corner, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.